All right, here we go. Welcome to this week's podcast of El Vestuario. It is episode 2, the 26th of September. Welcome back, boys. How was your week?
Fantastic.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I had a good
How
week.
did everyone?
Very good.
How did everyone feel after last week's inaugural podcast?
A lot of buzz around. A lot of buzz around. People talking about it, getting calls, getting messages, a lot of support.
We had a lot of views. I think we got to 101 or 103 few subscribers.
Yeah.
So welcome to
No
all
one
our
took the piss out of it, so it was good.
welcome to all our new subscribers.
Can make an appearance. Can I come on the show, Dad?
A few guest appearances.
Maybe we can do a big episode one day. No, okay.
Well, lots happened since that last episode, but good to know that we're on track to go viral at some stage. So any sponsors out there, we welcome all bids. So all right, so we'll kick it off. I think we start with a recap of the AFL prelim finals. I had the luxury of going to the MCG in front of 97,000 people. I had zero expectation of GWS winning, but 1 point against Collingwood. I am not disappointed at all. But 97,000 at the MCG, if you haven't done it before, it is one of the all-time experiences. So I highly recommend it. We go to that game. Collingwood, far better team. Think they're always going to do it. I felt a little uncomfortable for Collingwood fans because I thought that was going to be a runaway win. Esty being the favourite Collingwood fan here, how are you feeling about the grand final?
Nervous, really nervous. We've lost our key forward, so our tall forward, which is it's a crucial part of the game. We've lost him to a knee injury, so it's sort of brought. Look, we're at the MCG, so that's a big advantage for the Pies. Obviously, Brisbane has to travel down, and Brisbane don't have a good record at the MCG in finals. But I'm nervous. Because of the last two finals, we beat Melbourne by 7 or 6, and then we beat the GWS by 1. We just play close games. We don't blow teams away, and it's not good for the heart. I'm telling you, that last quarter.
It's sport.
Oh my goodness.
Sport's never good for the heart. But I must say,
playing it down. It's in the back.
I must say,
Brisbane have beaten us twice this year. That's the thing.
Yeah,
but beating GWS in a prelim final by 1 point, how does that put you going into a grand final? I would have thought it would have been a blowout game.
I reckon that, they're battle hardened. And that's the thing Colin will do. But even the coach, Craig McRae, he's come out and said that this is what they train for. They train to close the game down. So if you watched the last 6 minutes, all they did was kill the ball. That's professional. So that's why they're always involved in these really close games. They're just elite at closing the game down and closing it out. Like GWS could not get out of that close game, the possession. They couldn't escape, all that hustle from Collingwood. So that's what they can do well, and they'll drag Brisbane into that contest as well, into a very tight, close game. And what do you call it? And our defense would probably try to do what they did to GWS, just hold them out. That second quarter, but you got to say you must have had that faint belief because they were running away a little bit. GWS.
I didn't believe it. I actually went to get a beer. The lineup for the beer was so long that I was watching the 3 goals they scored in the second quarter in front of the bar. So I missed out on it. But every time GWS did score, there was absolute silence in the stadium. So I was probably one of 10 GWS fans there.
I was going to say, Diego, you know how you just said you went in there with no expectation. Obviously, everyone expected Collingwood to win. But I feel like if your team gets that close, and especially leading for such a big portion of the game, and being right in it to right at the last minutes of the game, you got to have felt some kind of disappointment at the end that it could have been. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like
1 point.
No, 100%. I think disappointed that we got so close. But to be fair, it was almost like halfway through the season. It's a bit like the Eels, right? The Eels, you have this expectation that they're going to win, but they never do, right? So that was a bit of a pun.
Nice, subtle low blow. But we understand.
I didn't.
Exactly what they do.
Halfway through the season, or probably halfway through the season, they weren't really in that top 8. They started firing towards the end, so we're kind of saying, "Oh, we shouldn't be here, but we're here." But to your point, 100%. It was a bit of a.
Yeah.
As in, we make the prelims, yeah. But no, 100%. I was disappointed. But because I had that expectation, I think it was a softer blow. But I'll tell you what, if GWS had won that game, that stadium, either the feral Collingwood fans would have destroyed chairs, or it just would have been crickets in that stadium. But when that final siren went, it was the energy in that stadium was just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
You heard all reports from.
You felt it through the TV. Honestly,
they estimated 2,000 GWS fans out of this 97. So you're talking about 95,000 of the same team, like in one stadium.
Yeah, crazy.
So it was incredible.
And that's the thing that AFL have. The players have they have an idea of how long's left, because you got the bench saying 1 minute left, but they have no idea when that siren goes. It's just the whole stadium, even people in the crowd don't know when that siren's going to go. So it's that relief as well. It's just mayhem. But I was struggling that last quarter. So
it was good.
I don't know how I'm going to do it in the grand final.
We've got the grand final on Saturday. Let's talk about the other prelim. We had Carlton versus the Lions. I think, let's all face it, we all said Brisbane was going to win that game. But Carlton had it in that first quarter.
Mate, first 5 goals they kicked.
Yeah, they started off like a house on fire, and then
I'm not sure what happened or why the Brisbane Lions. I think it was estimated 17,000 out of 35. Out of the 35,000 at the ground, at Brisbane's ground, were Carlton fans. I don't know how they distributed that many to Carlton supporters. It was crazy. It was almost like a home game for Carlton when they scored. You could hear it through the TV how loud it was. So I couldn't understand.
But it would have been because, like me, we got pre-sales allocated to GWS. I don't know the distribution in terms of how it goes, but there are a lot of Carlton members, I would imagine.
They're probably the second or third most supported club. Not when you go by membership. I'm just saying supported in Melbourne as in general. You got the 4 big clubs. Carlton, Collingwood, Essendon, and Richmond. They're the 4 big ones. And they travel everywhere, just like
I think Carlton, not being in at that level for so long. I think the fans, they obviously got right behind it because their team hasn't been in that position for how many years has it been?
First prelim in 23 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken. They haven't won it since '96.
Huge,
yeah. So that relief came out. You can tell.
So I still think Brisbane Lions, Collingwood game, 2:30 on Saturday. I've got the Lions by 8. Probably won't go down well with you, SD, but I think the Lions will get it.
I think it'll be I think it'll be about within the goal. Obviously, I'm going to say the Pies. They know how to sort of win that close game. They've I think they've won out of all the games they've been in that have been decided by less than 1 goal. I think they've only lost twice, and we're talking about 16, 17 games, something like that. That's what I heard during the week. So they know how to win those close games, and I'm hoping they do that again. But if they win like they did against GWS, I don't think I'll survive.
Heart attack. They're going to need a few Sierra Nevada ones.
And that's what AFL does for you. Just the nature of the game. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at all. It's like continuous games. Like as soon as the ball goes out, they throw it straight back in. There's no stoppages. There's no. It's just constant.
They're actually a great team to watch as a neutral. Collingwood. They're a great team to watch. And to be honest, I'm obviously a much bigger NRL fan, but after watching what Penrith was doing to Melbourne, I literally turned it over, and I was so happy that I did, because that second half was just unbelievable. Like the speed up, it was just we spoke about it, SD, while we're watching it, and then I know how nervous I was watching it, and I was just in my head, I was just imagining how nervous you would have been watching that game, and then I was pitching Diego in the stand, thinking, could this be? Could this be happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still one of these. One of these.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue, Dan. Very good segue, because that leads us on to the recap of the NRL prelims. So let's start this off. You mentioned Penrith and Storm. Obviously, I was at the AFL game. Talk us through the Penrith Storm. What went wrong for the Storm, or what went right for Penrith?
Come on, Conyo, you were at the game.
I think Conyo should take the
Conyo
lead.
went to the
I
game.
mean,
Yeah, he was at the game. You didn't see.
Conyo was at the game.
Yeah,
You know, he was on site reporting for us. So,
Wow.
let's have it. Let's have it, Conyo.
Well, boys, look, that was my first NRL game live.
wow.
A semi-final.
Hang on. You actually went to the game.
I actually was in the stadium.
It's not a piss take here.
No,
He
no,
went to the game.
Hey, Goya, that elevates your standing. Your standing as a Penrith fan. It elevates it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they only have to be on the verge of a three-peat for it to go.
How was it?
Bro, look, I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to describe it. I was obviously happy my team won, but I wanted to see more of a fight. I wanted to see what you guys experienced. I wanted to see something tighter. It's a fucking semi-final, man.
Yeah.
It's a semi-final, like, and 80,000 freaking stadium, and you had 35,000 Penrith fans or whatever it was. Not many Melbourne at all, and it was just complete domination. Like
when you say fight, as in like a physical fight or a fight from the Storm?
Yeah, just a more competitive game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted to.
Both games were blowouts.
Yeah, it just Brisbane went in there and just dominated the whole game, and I think like besides the first 5-10 minutes that I thought, oh fuck, all right, it could go either way here, or like there's going to be a bit of a fight. Don't worry, Penrith will come back. Man, like for the last 25 minutes of that second half, it felt like the Storm was fucking heading back to Melbourne.
Yeah.
So they weren't the Storm of old?
No, definitely not.
No, they weren't.
Nah, definitely.
But let's face it, the Storm this season have not been, well, in my opinion, have not been the Storm of the old. I think they've been grinding away at every game.
And yet they finished top 4.
Yeah,
exactly. But I think that's just a testament to them.
Yeah. Let's not take away anything from freaking the Panthers, man. They're just a freaking awesome thing to watch, honestly. And I can't wait for the grand final.
Right.
I can't.
I hope you guys win it. But I'm still picking Brisbane. I just can't. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. You picked Melbourne too. You had a feeling about Melbourne, but you know.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. No, I really do. I was happy I was wrong with Melbourne.
So, did Luau play?
He played 60 minutes, Diego. They took him off with they had the luxury to take him off the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But you know, listening to some of the sports radio shows during the week, you know, there's been so much praise for Luai. You know, they're sort of putting him up on at a level. You know, I don't know if you remember a game that Cooper Cronk played.
Yeah.
When he was, I can't remember what he did wrong. Was that that's right?
All the Roosters in the grand final when he injured himself.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly right. And they're sort of saying that mental toughness and, you know, to be there and to play at that level with what he had just, you know, gone through as an injury, like they're singing his praises. So they're basically saying, all right, he's a bit of a controversial character, isn't he, Luai? You know, some people love him and a lot of people don't like him. But I think as a fan of a physical sport like NRL, you got to respect and appreciate, you know, that kind of level of commitment and to play through pain and whatever, you know, he must have done, you know, in that game. And you know, credit to him, you know, and that Panthers team, just they're at another level, man. Like I'd love to see him get beat, to be honest. I really would, because I don't want him to match Parramatta's, you know, 3 in a row in the 80s. I really
was that from the 1950s?
No, the 80s, mate. 80s. Oh, you probably in your 20s in the 80s, weren't
you? Did the Panthers? No injuries for the Panthers. They came out that game unscathed, so we'll have a full outfit.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember any major injuries come out of it, to be honest.
Yeah, they're going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for Brisbane. I actually think Panthers will get that, only because they've just been outstanding and consistent the whole year, as they have been the last couple of years. So the other game with Brisbane and Warriors, by the looks of it, that was an absolute whitewash for Brisbane. Again, I didn't watch that game. I was travelling, but anyone here watch that game?
I watched a bit of it. No, not much.
I watched. I was out, and it was on in the background, so I was watching what I could. But again, it was a game that the Warriors actually looked like they put up a bit more than a fight than what Melbourne did, to be honest. And then Brisbane just ran away with it in the
second half. Just ran away. Yeah.
But
I think the Warriors were thankful to be there, but I don't think they were ever going to be a competition for the Broncos. But by far, I think they've. Kevin Walters, was it 3 years ago? They were wooden spooners, or 2 years ago.
2020, yeah.
And grand final this year. That's going to be one hell of a game. So
what I like is, I know Penrith have obviously had that experience of obviously being in the last 3 grand finals and winning 2 of them, but I think Brisbane have that X factor about them with a couple of really special players in their team. Obviously, we've mentioned Reece Walsh in the past. He's young, he's unpredictable, he can do some amazing things there. That Herbie Farnworth in the centres, another great player. That Ezra Mann, the what's it called, the 5'8". I mean, that guy, he's a player that does make some mistakes, but he also pulls out some freakish stuff as well. And then you've got Adam Reynolds, who I just can't believe Souths let him go.
Yeah, that's right.
He's just crazy, because I always rated him as one of the best halfbacks in the game. And he's had a few injuries throughout this season, but, mate, when he's in that Brisbane side, he just balances it really well. So who knows, man? Who knows, mate? If things go their way, and some of those, plays that, Walsh or Ezra Mann come up with, if they come off, who knows what can happen? They might sting them. Yeah.
I think
it's going to be a good game. Both teams, I mentioned it last week, when you've got a team that's gelling, they look happy when they're playing. I think we see that both with Penrith and Broncos. So it's going to be one hell of a game, 100%.
Yeah, and that forward, sort of the forward packs coming out.
Oh, crazy.
It's going to be crazy. Carrigan.
So who are we tipping?
Payne Haas is the best in the game at I reckon as a front rower, and then but you got Leota and Fisher Harris. Mate, those 2 guys are just incredible. You know what I mean?
So who are we tipping?
I'm going to go for Brisbane. I'm going for Brisbane, boys.
Yeah, same.
By how much?
I'm going Brisbane by a try. Brisbane by a try.
I think Penrith will be too strong there.
Yeah, I got Penrith by 8 as well. Plus, I got that bet going, so I need them to.
I'm with you, Daz. I got Brisbane by a try.
That's good. Conyo, what's your thoughts? I mean, you got the arrogance of a Western Sydney Panthers supporter after the last couple of seasons. So, what's your prediction?
I just can't say us. Look, it's going to be it's a game that I want. It's a game that I want to see. It's going to be a good fight, but I think Panthers take it.
And both codes.
It's going to be a close game. Close game.
Yeah, but I think 2 tries maybe, but it'll go down to the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But before we leave this topic, like I asked you boys during the week and right after the game, sorry, do you guys not notice how in football there's microphones around the field absorbing the atmosphere or what's going on inside the field for the spectators to hear while they're in the stadium? Like the passing of the ball, you can hear every pass, every knock. Like
I don't understand it, Conyo. I don't know what you're.
I've never taken notice of it.
I've never noticed it either.
Yeah.
One thing I thought of is when you did bring that up is that after going to so many football games all my life, right? Growing up, especially in small stadiums, and football fans in general are usually singing during the game. There's maybe some drums. There's always atmosphere.
Yeah.
The way you sounded, the way you spoke about it, it felt like one of the first or couple of the first times that I went to a rugby league game, where I felt like it just didn't feel. You couldn't feel a lot of the energy, and it's more to do with the unless it's a really pumped up crowd and a really tight game. The atmosphere sort of isn't there, and like you say,
It's flat.
you don't hear a lot of stuff there like that's happening on the field. And that's I always used to say. Rugby league is a TV sport. You got the commentary there. You know, it's a lot more suited for a TV sport. But
Yeah.
I have also been to rugby league games that are cracking the atmosphere as well. You know,
Yeah, look, I don't doubt that, but look, pay attention to a next Wanderers game or whatever you go to. I'm not
Yeah.
lying to you. You're gonna notice just maybe a meter and a half behind the sides of the field, yeah, and it's every 10 meters, every 15 meters. There's microphones.
Is that for
Yeah.
TV bar or is for the
No,
actual?
it's actually for the stadium. It's not.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
hear it through the TV, but you can hear, or maybe you can a bit, but you can hear, while we're at the stadium at Pertec or Sydney Football Stadium, whatever it is, you can hear the pass every time the boys knock the ball to each other. You can actually hear the boot to the ball. You can hear the yelling. You can't make out what they're saying. You can hear the referee's whistle, and I just felt like there was nothing. There was nothing absorbing the hits
Yeah.
from the tackles, the whistles or this and that. And then someone said to me, it's because they sweat too much. And I said, no, it can't be that. It can't be that. Like it's
So you're saying let's give the viewers context. So in that message, you said you were expecting the noise and everything to travel around the stadium because of those mics, yeah?
yeah. So like I'm saying,
And you weren't getting it.
Nah, it doesn't. You can't
You
hear
get it on TV though, but you get it on TV. Like when you're watching, you can hear that atmosphere. You can hear the hits. You hear everything on the TV.
Okay,
Yeah, I always thought that was for TV.
Okay. Say that was my first time there at an NRL game, and I thought, man, like, how come I can't hear what's going on between? You can't hear the tackles, you can't hear them kicking the ball, you can't hear them like shouting at each other, past whatever it is, and this and that. You can't hear the referee's whistle, and I thought, man, this is it's very different to the football.
I know the feeling you're saying because I've experienced it as well. I don't know what the answer is, to be honest.
Yeah. Look, the next time
Maybe you need to experience a different
Rugby, you
NRL
follow
game.
rugby league. NRL games are better at small
Yeah,
stadiums. Like I've been to Leichhardt Oval, I've been to Belmore, I've been to Oakey,
even Bluebet, Panthers,
and Parramatta Stadium.
Panthers
better.
is great.
Huh?
look,
Our Panthers is great. The
Panthers Stadium's good.
Very good. When it's full, it's excellent.
but look, we've been at big stadiums where you've got Sydney FC against Wanderers in the derby, and there's both sides are chanting, like RBB and the Cove, they're going off and this and that.
Yeah,
and
but
we're in the
football's
middle
different.
when I am, and I can still hear it. I can still hear the passes between the players. I can still. It's not the size of the stadium. It's the fact that they have those microphones around the field. And then I took notice they didn't have it, and I thought, man, they're lacking something here, and there must be a reason why they don't have it.
Maybe the club's got no money, mate.
Anyways, all right.
Taylor just took himself off. All right, Taylor. All right, so we'll go now. I guess we'll take it.
He's just producing now.
Daz, AFL rap is up next. Come on, give us your, because you're the only one that can talk about AFL.
Here he is. Here he is.
I have no idea what happened.
Pelican Waters. Yeah, out is the Pelican Waters.
Hey, you just cut the head of a chicken. You should have seen us. We're like,
What do we do?
We're staring at each other.
While you were gone, Tower, Dazza wrapped up the Leeds part of it all. So
I haven't even started.
Another great segue.
You want to hear it.
So during the week, for our viewers, this little chat group, the Leeds United fan of the group wanted to do a bit of a wrap on the EFL. I don't know who streams this anymore, but Daz, why don't you take us through the EFL wrap up?
I've actually caught a bit of it this over the weekend because I wanted to, give you a little bit more than just Leeds. Okay, so I did catch a bit of it over the weekend for you guys. So look, I will start with Leeds. I'll tell you what, I think I enjoy being in the EFL a lot more than the Premier League, to be honest.
More wins.
To the way we're playing. I mean, I just feel like we've started off a bit slow, and we've actually won 3 games and drawn 4. We've only lost 1, but we just look a class above a lot of the other teams, and it's impressive to watch, man. And I'm actually starting to enjoy looking forward to the Leeds games again when I can watch them, because I mean, we're in Australia here. BN Sports shows probably about 4 or 5 of the games a weekend, and it's not, obviously not always Leeds. But I subscribe to the Leeds United TV app, and you pay a small amount. I think it's like $6 a month or something, and you can watch the games on there with completely biased commentary, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I love that shit.
The Leeds biased commentary is great because they're, you know, the way that they're like they're commentating the goal is in your head exactly how you're feeling at the time. You know,
and the disappointment when they concede as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's good. They don't hold back. You know, if there's a player that's fucking done something wrong, they'll fucking call it out too. You know, it's actually it's refreshing. But all right. So Leeds, obviously we won 3-0 against. Oh wow, the team evades me. Who we beat? I think it was
Watford. I think it was
Watford. Yeah, it was Watford. You're right. So Leeds won 3-0. We're up in the 5th spot. The top of the table is you got. Yeah, so Preston North End and Leicester topping the table at the moment with I think both teams are on 7 wins and 1 loss. So they're fighting it out at the top.
Hey,
is Vardy still in Leicester?
Man, he's killing it. He's like the Haaland of the AFL with Leicester.
Well,
the guy's scoring goals, man.
Even Gonya could play AFL, I reckon.
Yeah, but the Aussie there, Harry Suter is on the out there. He hasn't been playing. Big tall Harry Suter.
That's surprising.
So he's obviously no. He's out of favour. But anyway, flowing on from one Aussie to a couple of successful Aussies in the EFL. Middlesbrough, who were 1 game away from making it back to the Premier League this season, have really struggled, and they were at the bottom of the table. And they won on the weekend with a great goal by Riley McGee. So Riley McGee, I don't know if you know who he is, but he was obviously an Adelaide player. He scored that freakish goal, if you remember, the scorpion kick. Yeah, so he was nominated for the what's it called there? What do they call that goal of the year? What's the
Puskas Award.
The Puskas Award. He was at that time. I've always rated him. He's obviously a permanent fixture in the Australian team these days. But I've watched a fair bit of him at Middlesbrough, and he's definitely one of the best players in that team. And you can just see the crowd, behind him. I think he'll be in the Premier League very soon. If Middlesbrough
is McGee in the Socceroo squad at all?
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Yeah, and he's going to be. I think more and more you'll find him as a first team player in the coming years.
You going to snake on you?
Yeah, he doesn't know much about the EFL, but anyway. The other one I wanted to mention is a forgotten Aussie player. Do you guys remember Massimo Luongo? Yeah. So he actually obviously fell out of favour with the Australian side, but he's now signed at Ipswich Town, who are coming third actually in the EFL, and he scored the winner on the weekend, and they won 4-3. So
was he the one that scored the golazo on the Asian Cup final?
Asian Cup, correct?
Yeah, on that side. Yeah.
What happened to him?
He was alright then. That's what last one.
I don't know. He obviously. I don't know if he had a bad injury or something. I'm not sure, but he obviously hasn't been in and around the national team for a long time, and it was good to see him back and playing still at that level and scoring the winning goal for Ipswich. So there's your EFL wrap with a little bit of Australian flavour added to it.
That was good.
We'll just do it once a month.
You'll hear it as long as Leeds win. We're talking about it.
Well, to be honest, I like hearing the Aussie story. So, and leading on to the Aussie stories, EPL wrap up. let's start off. Arsenal, Tottenham.
Do we have
What day
to?
they play? Monday, Sunday night.
Sunday night.
As a neutral,
What?
what a game! Like
Yeah, loved it.
I will say this: Arsenal in the first half played well. In the second half, we played like shit. And for us to play like shit and still, I'm disappointed that we drew at home to our biggest rival. But I've left a bit. You know me, I'm pessimistic. I was actually trying to be optimistic and say we played bad and we still drew.
You still got like
So gotta take, and they drew off of a Jorginho fucker.
yeah.
If you think of it
Yeah,
that
what
way.
happened there?
So he got the ball. He dwelled on the ball too long. They took it off him. They scored.
Well, what about the penalty? For me, it was 100% a handball. I've got no doubt about it.
Yeah,
But
but
they failed to
didn't.
show what happened in the background. Madison was clearly fouled in the lead up to that handball, right? He was clearly fouled, and he was, if that was for me, that's still involved in the play that led to them calling a penalty. Why
Can
is
I be
it?
honest with you? I wouldn't give it a penalty. I wouldn't give it a penalty because I'm still with that old school mentality that if it's not intentional, it shouldn't be a handball.
It's ridiculous now.
Romero went to sort of slide or stick his boot out, and he turned his body so his arm was up. He didn't swipe at the ball. I know this it's an unnatural position, but when you're fucking sliding or when you're stretching out, your hands just move up, mate. You're not gonna fucking be like this.
Unfortunately, I know we might not agree with the actual rule, but it's a clear rule, and if you go by the rule, then it's a penalty. But my issue is why didn't the VAR look at what led to?
They
Why?
can't.
It's in the same play.
No, it is one of the rules. They can't. No, because it's a different play now where they're calling it for something else. They can't go back.
Was it?
I'll give an example. I'll give an example. A few weeks ago,
it was in the same play, Johnny. It was in the same play.
I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, what's the Chino name in our team? His name escapes me. The Japanese guy in our team called Tomiyasu. He got sent off. Remember against Crystal Palace, right? Yeah. Before that, it shouldn't have even been a throwing. So really, he shouldn't have been sent off. First of all, he didn't even touch the player. Secondly, if you go back in that play, it shouldn't have even been a throwing. But they couldn't have a look at the throwing. That's what they said. They said that's.
No, but Johnny, this happened in the same play. So if you watch that play, if you rewinded literally 5 seconds back from that handball, Madison got fouled in the box, and he fucking, you see him tumbling. He got clearly fouled. I forget who fouled him, but he was fouled. So surely, if you're looking at that play for a penalty, leading up to it, you can't call that a penalty because there was a clear foul there that led to the penalty. Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't even know.
Hey, look, it was an entertaining game, but it was annoying for me because I honestly thought we were going to win. And off the back of midweek, we killed it in the Champions League. I thought, like, that game against PSV, I thought, all right, we're back to what we were last year. Let's kick on from there, and we didn't. We didn't do shit. I don't know.
Maybe it took out too much of the play, or did
I don't want to use injuries as an excuse because I fucking hate that. I hate it. It's just shit. But fucking players getting injured and starting to annoy me.
I think you can use that as an excuse because for me that changed the game when Declan Rice came off and who else came off?
You know why I don't like to use it as an excuse, Daz? Because we all agree that Man City is the benchmark and that's the team we want to beat. Mate, they could put anyone out there and they still fucking kill it. They don't have De Bruyne, the best midfielder in the game, some would say in the world. They're still winning. So, we can't use, we didn't have Declan Rice.
But it's very different.
Jorginho's a European Cup winner with Italy, a Champions League winner with Chelsea. He's a decent player. Well, he can't come on and do a job for us.
But that was that type of game, Johnny. Both teams made a lot of mistakes because both teams pressured really, really high and they pressured really fast. So you've seen a lot of mistakes. I felt like from both teams there was lots of mistakes. Do you reckon?
A lot of mistakes. Like a typical derby game.
Typical derby game. You're right. Yeah.
It's just annoying because
pretty to watch in terms of skill and all that. It's just good to watch because of the theatre, the tackles going in, the shove.
I just wish Big Ange wasn't fucking Tottenham's coach because I really like Ange.
He's so likeable.
He's such a lovable bloke. He's such a good manager.
United, right?
He's a humble, but like, come on, man. Like, really, Tottenham. I can't cheer for him. Like, I hope they get fucking relegated. But I like Ange.
You got to cheer. He's the first Aussie coach in the Premier League. You have like Esty said during the week. There's a soft. You got to have a soft spot for Tottenham now.
No one comes to Arsenal, mate. No one.
So that's like
Diego, I feel like there's another segue coming up soon. I think we're going to hold off, but with supporting other teams, but we'll get to it soon. There's another 9 games in the Premier League. So,
what were the other standouts? We had Man U with a win over Burnley, 1-0. How was that?
I wouldn't call it a standout.
Yeah, they got the job done.
I call the goal a standout. That's it.
What a goal.
Good, was it?
And who would have thought Johnny Evans last played for United 8 years ago, I think?
Yeah.
Comes in, scores a goal,
3,000 days ago.
Scored a goal, disallowed, rightly disallowed. Who was it that was in front of the goalkeeper? I can't remember. Someone was in the offside position, caught off, and then he puts that that banger of a ball to Fernandes, who hit it first time. Beautiful goal.
Yeah. So I want to ask you something regarding Manchester United. During the week, I've been listening to I listened to a lot of TalkSport, this show from England that goes on about the Premier League in depth. And a lot of United fans were ringing up complaining about Rashford, which I couldn't believe because to me, Rashford is your best player. But they were saying how he hogs it too much. There's times where the other players are in a better position and he tries to take the extra touch. And when they got to defend, he doesn't do enough.
That arrogance is starting to set in now, I think.
They not against Burnley. Who did they play the week before?
Brighton.
A couple of times in Burnley, but more so against Burnley. Brighton, he copped it big time amongst the fans. So many times, and when he's running at you down that wing, he's hard, he's fast, he's hard to. You get past him. He has the opportunity to cut the ball in, put a nice little chip into the box for Højlund, who's actually been really pretty impressive at his young age.
He's actually all right.
He's quite strong and he can hold the ball up. But he's trying to shoot at such angles. Yes, have the shot if you got an opportunity, but he's doing it all the time when there's defenders in front of him. He's trying to put a top corner on the tightest.
You know what it also that comes down to, right? I don't think it's that he's a hog and that. I think what it is last season he started off that season so fucking good, right?
He's fine.
And he can obviously feel the pressure on probably on himself a lot to what's it called, to perform, So when you know that you've got that talent, that ability, and you've done it before, I feel like when your team's not going that great, you feel like you try that extra little bit too hard. Now look, we're talking about him like he's a fucking selfish prick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the thing about United, about Rashford? He's the golden child, right?
Yeah.
Born and bred in Manchester, come through the academy. He's such a good human being off the field.
Off the pitch, he does a lot.
He's such a likable person. Rarely people hate him for. So to hear some of the United fans coming at him, I think I was actually a bit shocked. I'm like, whoa, but
I was shocked. That's why I brought it up because I was shocked. I was like, they're actually going after one of your best players. Like I was thinking,
a lot of the fans on social media, a lot of these fans on social media, just they clickbait. They just want to create drama and cause like you just say they've been around for 5 or 6 years really, and they just sometimes I feel like they're just making controversial statements just to be controversial. Like yes, he was at fault at sometimes, but you can't. What are our only options?
But I think that's got to be normal, right? That's got to be normal, and I think where Man U is today, they're not performing, they're losing, fans are getting upset. Yeah. You're going to get this.
Yeah,
like it happened to Rashford missing the penalty in the Euros?
Yeah, the Euros.
He got abused.
Right?
So fans, I think fans generally, especially Man U not doing well. We spoke about it last week. They need to be doing better. They start pointing fingers. So,
Tower, we're gonna have a second to mention your team, Liverpool, because I think they're going to be challengers this year.
Well, they're up there. I'm looking at the table now. They're second. So
And Darwin,
I want to talk
And they're playing.
Darwin
And they're
Nunez.
playing. They're
Boys,
playing
Darwin
electric
Nunez. Did you see
football,
that
man.
goal? Did you see
Yeah,
the
it was
goal
good.
by Darwin Nunez? Beautiful.
But he missed Asida
Absolute
as well.
quality.
That's the problem
But
with
that's
his.
Darwin Nunez. That's
They
Nunez.
call him. They call
Haaland
him.
missed 5 sitters against West Ham the other week. You know what
The
I mean?
Liverpool fans call him chaos because he's very chaotic.
Well, let me ask you
And
this.
you look
and
at
I
him
know-
playing, he really is.
Let me ask you this, and I know we're going to talk about it later on, but you've got 2 Uruguayans here, and the other one's half a Uruguayan.
Couldn't give a fuck. He doesn't play for Arsenal.
Well, how do you not support him?
When he puts on that Celeste, I'll support him.
So we're talking about Nunez being Uruguayan playing for the Scousers. How do you not have a soft spot?
What about when Bentancur puts on the Spurs jersey?
No fucking way. Look, Nunez. I'll go this far. I'd like Nunez to get the what's it called, the golden boot. Let him score 35 goals, but I want Liverpool to finish under Arsenal.
Yeah.
Like Suarez, like how Suarez
Yeah,
was.
Suarez, that's
basically,
the same way I thought about Suarez as well, yeah.
And I wanted,
Nunez is doing well. Doing well this
Yeah.
season. I know we're only 6 games in.
I
Nah,
was
he-
actually thinking this the other day, right? And see how you boys feel about it. Konya, I'll ask you this as well, right? All these. Would you rather see your team win the league or your most hated team get relegated? Because, get this right, your most hated team, your biggest rival, if they get relegated, that's a stain that they could never erase. You guys don't win it this year, you can win it next year. You can win it the year after. You can win it 10 years from now. Winning it can be done. You get relegated like me, like in Boca from Argentina.
Yeah,
the fact that River Plate got relegated and Boca has never been relegated, that's a stain they can never wipe. We've got that over them forever.
Funny, I feel like that's a bad characteristic trait, to be honest.
Fuck
To
it.
wish-
You told me
100%.
this year you want Arsenal to win. You said to me you want Arsenal to win or Man U and Tottenham to go. Man U, Tottenham, Chelsea, bottom 3. Sign me up.
Wow. That's terrible.
I would even say let Arsenal finish in the Europa Conference League places as long as Man U, Tottenham,
I'm
Chelsea.
with Daz, mate. That's a terrible character trait.
It is
Don't
a terrible character.
ever
Love
trust
it.
Johnny.
Love it.
I wouldn't love
Liverpool to
there's
get
nothing more that
relegated.
I'd love for Liverpool to get relegated. To be honest, I'm like,
Oh, that's disgusting. Seriously.
Would you postpone Man U?
100%.
Yeah, would you postpone Man U winning a title? So it could happen in 5 years' time as long as Liverpool go down this year.
yeah, I've won 13 in my lifetime. I've won plenty of I've watched Man United win plenty.
There is nothing better than your team winning and lifting the
That
trophy.
says the bloke that goes
100%.
for fucking 18 of the 20 teams in the EPL.
Wait on that topic because that's coming. I want to touch on Brighton. Brighton are currently third after 6 games. Can they sustain it? They finished strong last season. They've been doing exceptionally well in the first 6 games. Can they sustain it? Can they play Champions League next season?
5th place they can fight for, but not top 4.
Yeah.
I think they can. If you look at Leicester 2015, I know that's something that might not ever happen again. What Leicester did in 2015, but a team like Brighton and the way they're playing, I mean they pretty much lead the league in most stats. They scored the most goals, more goals than Manchester City.
So they're second now, equal second now. So Man City now is 13. Actually, no, you're right. Goals scored, they've got the most.
Goals scored, Brighton's got the most. Yeah.
Goal difference, they got the second.
Yeah.
So no, you're absolutely right.
I can't see another Leicester happening, man. That stuff happens in football once in a blue lock.
No,
it's not a Leicester, just top 4.
Yeah.
I don't think they can. Newcastle did it last year, and for me, Newcastle just had a really good coach. They didn't really sign any great players last season.
Bruno Guimaraes is really good. I don't know if you
of course,
but he's
Bruno
Guimaraes could easily be starting in a top 4 side.
Yeah, well, they've re-signed him Newcastle for another 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can do it, man. There's no depth in it. They got now freaking Europe to deal with. You just saw it on the weekend. They almost lost, didn't they? No,
they lost.
They did lose.
Who's that?
They lost.
Brighton lost to
It's going to be hard to stay that extra game.
Yeah, you're right. I will, but I think if they focus on the Premier League, I can see them finishing top 4. It'll depend on the other teams. You know, the other
Also,
top 5 teams.
West Ham.
Hang on. Brighton won on the weekend.
Boys.
Brighton won 3-1 on the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Champions League. They lost Champions League. Not Champions
No,
League,
the
Europa League.
Europa League, I meant, sorry.
Europa League, sorry.
No, I think it's too much. Europe now is too much. I think they'll finish and they'll get into Champions League because they've just built amazing momentum for me. So they're not going to be winning.
I wouldn't mind seeing them get that fourth spot.
Yeah.
Right, boys,
can we talk about?
Yeah, sorry, Diego. You might be talking about the same thing. I'll let you go.
No, go.
No, I was going to say I want to make SD feel a little bit better because we touched on this last week. Chelsea.
How bad are they?
What
Chelsea,
is going on?
I mean, as a big club, and you know, like you said, SD last week, you know, everyone's, you know, Chelsea are getting away with it. Everyone's talking about Man United. It's definitely not the case. I mean, I think a lot of people are talking about Chelsea, the amount of money that they've spent, the amount of coaches they've went through, and they just cannot put it together. You know, what's going on at that club?
1-0 loss to Aston Villa. I mean, at the Bridge.
Let's not discredit Villa. They've been exceptional.
Yeah, Chelsea also played with 10 men more than half the game. I think it was about half the game they played with 10 men.
The money that Chelsea have spent
over $1 billion.
Yeah,
and the signed players, man.
Yeah, let's just not talk about the money. How long ago did Chelsea win the Champions League? How many years ago was that?
2021.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
But also, let's
Champions League winners 2 years ago.
Yeah,
what has happened at that club?
They did win it. You can't take that away from them. They won it, but
Exactly right.
they weren't the best fucking team.
Doesn't matter.
Like you look at that. That final. I can't believe fucking hell. Like Man City were all over it. All over it.
I read a really funny tweet today. Domino's in the UK or whatever they were tweeted they've delivered 857,000 pizzas since the last time Chelsea scored a goal.
Wow!
Fucking hell.
Wow!
I saw on Insta. I saw on Insta that Chelsea are going to have to pick their goal of the month from training because they haven't scored.
That's not the first time they've come up with that. I think back in last season in April or something, towards the end of the year, like the goal of the month for April for Chelsea, there was none. Oh no, there was. It was an own goal. It was an own goal. So it was
I think Pochettino. I think we give Pochettino a few years because he needs to rebuild that. But
of course you would, Tower. You're RG, and that's your fourth favorite team.
Right, we haven't started that topic yet. Before we move on, Newcastle, Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield United. Are they out of their depth in the prep? Are they out of their depth in the EPL?
The three promoted clubs are going down.
Leeds would never have lost 8-0. Leeds would never have lost 8-0.
8-0.
Still wasn't the record. I think the record's 9. Man U beating Ipswich.
Yeah, I know. But this was the record for the biggest away win. Oh, sorry, maybe Newcastle's biggest ever away win. It might have been.
Yeah, it could be. The biggest win in the EPL was Man U. They beat Ipswich, and I think that year was his name Cole. Cole scored 5 goals in that game or something when he played up front with York.
Cole.
Yeah. Cole.
Well, interesting stat. Newcastle scored 8 goals. 8 different goal scorers.
Yeah, and that was the first. I think it was. Was that a first?
Yeah, that was first ever. Yeah.
Wow, so a defender must have got in on the action too.
Well, you think so? You never know.
But they've been a bit shaky. Newcastle have been a bit shaky this season. The first 3 or 4.
Yeah, they haven't started well. Yeah.
I got rid of all their players from my fantasy league, and about 4 of them scored. So that's a shit.
We're in that same comp, and I had a look. You're coming second last, Diego, and
because I got rid of players. He's not playing. I had to get rid of a whole bunch of players because that was disgusting. All right, so let's look at the Premier League this weekend. No big outstanding games. Oh, there is one. Tottenham-Liverpool.
Tottenham-Liverpool.
Where's it at?
Cracking game.
Tottenham.
Wow, Lane. I actually think a draw or a Tottenham win. I don't see Liverpool winning there. Even though they've been flying,
What do you reckon?
Tottenham's been flying as well.
But do you feel Tottenham's that one game closer to a loss because they've been grinding?
Yeah, I do. I do, but I said that before the Arsenal game, they didn't lose. So, and they're at home. If it was at Anfield this week, I'd say Liverpool get them, but it's at Tottenham. So
Look. Arsenal didn't play well, man. Come on.
we had a good first half. First 30, 35 minutes of the first half, we're better than clear.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, but they were dangerous still in moments. But yeah, we were better. We were a better team, 100%. But I'm still not happy the way Arteta started the team, especially Jesus out on wing. Anyways, don't know.
What's this
We move on.
with Havertz? From hearing a lot of fans on the socials and they're like, this Havertz thing is not working. I haven't seen many Arsenal games to have I saw that game. I guess.
Yeah, he came in with
I'm giving him time. I mean, I wasn't. It wasn't a signing that I was excited about. I actually thought we could have bought better players.
Yeah.
But once he was signed, I thought, you know what, we'll give him a crack because there's got to be something about him. There's got to be something about him because even when he was at Chelsea, they would start him a lot, and it's like I don't know. There's got to be something about him, but yeah, I wouldn't have. He wouldn't have been a purchase I would have done. There would have been other players we needed.
Yeah.
We needed number 9.
I'm actually missing freaking Chaka, man.
Really?
Yeah, in that midfield, right there. I don't know.
He wanted to leave. I think it was time for him to go. And you know what? It's funny you say that. Bayer Leverkusen is killing it in the Bundesliga. Apparently, Xabi Alonso is one of the best coaches around at the moment. I didn't even realize he was coaching the Leverkusen.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the coach at Leverkusen, and all his stats are through the roof. And apparently, he's playing attractive football, and he's being looked at by a lot of people. Hey, Xabi Alonso. I didn't even know he was coaching.
Might go to the Spanish female team.
So, yeah, but yeah.
All right,
But
so that's the only big game in the EPL. Liverpool-Tottenham. So we're going Tottenham there. We're leading towards that.
I actually think Liverpool's going to win that one, boys.
I think so too.
I'm going Liverpool.
Who's Man City got?
I'm going to draw again. I'm going to have a draw.
Man City have.
They're away. They're away to Wolves.
Oh, Wolves are going to struggle. Yeah, that's a Sunday morning midnight game.
Yeah, no,
I feel like every game's just easy for Man City. It just feels easy, doesn't it?
Oh, it's a walk in the park. But the big game this week, we're leaving the EPL. We're going to Argentina. The El Clasico, Boca Juniors versus River Plate.
Where's it at? La Bombonera or
La Bombonera?
Ooh.
I'll be honest with you, Boca have been really good in the Copa Libertadores this year, but they've been terrible in fucking the Argentine Pro League. So I reckon a draw.
Okay, it's just the Clásico. It can go either way.
Yeah, but La Bombonera, I think it'll be a draw. Cavani hasn't really hit the ground running for Boca. He's not really lighting the water on fire.
Well, Tevez is doing really well in Independiente, actually. So
yeah, so
it says a lot. All right, boys. So that's the EPL wrap up. We're probably going to move on from the Champions League. I'm going to drop that for a minute. Just conscious that we've got a few minutes left. And I want to talk about this one topic that's been going on for years and years in our group chat. Topic is, can you follow multiple teams? And let's talk about football in this case, our passion. Can you follow multiple teams in different leagues, or do you only support one team? Now, we've got a whole lot of views, and you might think I've got 18 teams that I follow in the EPL. Gonyo has a very, very strong view on this, and until our group chat, he wasn't aware that you could. Tell us your view, Gonyo, on supporting a team or multiple teams.
Yeah, all right, no worries. Look, I came up with a belief from my brothers and my family and the oldies that you could only follow the football team that you grew up around. So wherever you were born, that was your team. Yeah. So from Peru, I had to choose one team, and that's the team that I followed for the rest of my life until I died. No English teams, no French teams, no nothing like that, right? But growing up in Australia, amongst mates and stuff like that, I started realizing that the only football that they were showing when we were younger was the European leagues. Now, because of that rule, I actually never followed a Peruvian team. Yeah, there's like three famous ones: Alianza Lima, Universitario, and another one called Cristal. I used to say that I'm from La U, Universitario, but I never actually followed anyone there. All right, until we were like about 17, 18, 19. And then the boys started saying, you know what, I actually follow Man U. Oh yeah, etc. etc. And then so later on, I actually started watching the EPL and realized I was attracted to Arsenal. But I never thought that that was my team. Like, you know what I mean? Like that I never thought that could be allowed.
Yeah.
And
Like,
especially,
how can you support a team that's on the other side of the world?
yeah,
We're
like
just
I didn't grow
we're
up.
just gonna forget the whole Newcastle phase. It's alright.
I was going to say, what happened to Newcastle?
Oh, look, we can touch in that, but we're not talking about that exactly. That can be another.
Well, that's a new topic, right? Can you change teams? That's another topic.
That'll be another.
That could be next week's topic, Tao.
The fact that, all right, if I became an Arsenal fan, right, and then I fell in love with it, the whole rivalry between Manchester United and Arsenal, etc. I started falling in love with the whole thing. But then you choose a team from France. What the fuck? You choose a team from like Germany. You choose a team from whatever. Yeah, and then you start fucking following NFL and choose a team from there, and then fucking
Hey,
NBA, and you choose
hey,
a team
my
from
Eagles
there.
are 3-0. 3-0.
Oh, hang on.
Lost
So
in
you're
City.
saying, hang on. So you're saying
You say no
you
other
can't
sports.
follow other codes.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's the way I
Yeah.
used to view it.
That's next level shit.
All right, that's the
Yeah,
way.
that's weird.
So in other words, Diego, you can't like GWS.
No, that's the
Correct.
way. Well,
You
yeah,
know, guys, I've got some other examples of it too. There's some other examples of people that I know that are exactly like that, and they're our age. I'll give you two examples. Johnny, you know, Carlos Marcelo Gutierrez.
Yeah, Gutierrez.
He's just nacional. He will not support any team in the EPL. He doesn't support any team in Argentina or anywhere.
Yeah.
And there's some Uruguayans that are like that. You know, a lot of them are just
Sam.
Peñarol. You know, and there's no other team that they'll support ever. And another one, which I don't know, I think you know who he is. You guys might all know who he is. George Rossinario. You know George?
I
I
think
heard
Yeah.
the name.
He's sorry.
an Italian guy. He went to
Yeah,
Paris.
right. Yeah, George. Yeah, so he is like AC Milan, like
Yeah.
through and through.
I got-
And I'm not a close mate with him, but I've known him for a long time. Played soccer with him, and caught up with him a few times. And I've asked him, who do you go for an EPL? No, I go for AC Milan,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I
Doesn't
got, I
support
got, I
anyone
got a
in.
mate like that too. You know him, Antonio. Remember Rocky Montaglione?
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's Italian. He's a mad AC Milan fan.
Yeah,
And he's told me 100 times when he sees me post about Arsenal. He goes, "Brother, how can you go for Arsenal? You should only go for Peñarol." Like, oh, of course I go for Peñarol. I'm Uruguayan. He
yeah,
goes, "Yeah, but that's it." And I'm like, "Nah, man. Like, I will say it here. I love Arsenal more than any other team. I take Arsenal over Peñarol. I'll take Arsenal over the Wanderers. I'll take Arsenal over Boca."
But
The only thing
that comes back to what we grew up with. So Gordon
Yeah.
made a point.
Arsenal was
we
the
got shown English football, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but we
Man,
also
I don't
watched
know
Serie
how
A,
you guys
so-
were. I think I know how Esti was. But for me, you said, Conyo, you fell in love with the rivalry Arsenal had with Man U and the whole thing. I think it was the first season I remember watching was the season that Blackburn won the title. So I think it was around 94.
No,
That was the first season I remember watching.
94.
And when I started watching the EPL with my dad, what's the name? That 1 hour highlights on Monday nights on Channel 2, one player caught my eye, Ian Wright. And the dumbest reason he caught my eye is because in one game that I watched, Arsenal were actually wearing the yellow strip. He scored 2 amazing goals and then got sent off for a 2-footed tackle. And my dad turns to me and goes, "Hey, he's crazy, Negro." And I'm like, "Yeah, fuck, he really is." Like, I fell in love with him. I fell in love with him because he was a freak of a
then you should be
player.
going for the MacArthur Rams then, yeah?
Yeah, and because of Ian Wright, because I started taking notice, I started noticing him more. You know what I mean? So I would watch games just to watch Ian Wright, and then that's how I became an Arsenal fan. So it's always, for me, it was like that one player. You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
you, it
but
would
I
have
think
been
we should.
Canto.
I think we should touch
Yeah.
on that next week, boys. I think we should all touch on that next week. I think it might be a good segment for the show. We can all. Johnny's obviously had his say on how we become such a passionate Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
I think maybe we all can, even if it's one per week, or we all have a chat about it next week. Let's dive into to each one of you's
Yeah. Then we
your
can move
team,
on to like
and how you got to it. You know how you got to that point.
And how you
the
can change
NFL
teams like
team,
Antonio.
my Major League Baseball
I'll tell you.
team, my what do you call it, AFL team, my and rugby league team.
Shout out to my
So
Eagles,
could
mate.
you-
We won. That's 3 in a
Look,
row.
I'll be honest. I'm starting to
Jalen Hurts is
understand
killing it.
and kind of and have a little bit of respect for it because I can. All right, look, I understand. I can't fully understand. Fuck, I'm
What?
sorry.
All right, tell me.
The
But
thing is,
you can understand how you can be passionate about another club.
passionate.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I've been at a Wanderers game and I've felt sick with
Yeah.
emotion,
me
Yeah.
too.
like
Bro,
passionate.
but you don't feel
That
that
was
with
probably
other
the
sports?
500
Like,
beers you had.
mate, if I'm watching the Lakers play game 7 of a final,
Yeah.
I'm fucking sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl
So
last
what
year,
you're saying-
I watched the Eagles play the Super Bowl. I was sick to my stomach. Like,
I was watching the Steelers
Konyo, you're
yesterday.
saying
you see?
No, I was watching the
Yeah,
Steelers
go,
yesterday
Steve.
at work, and we're winning comfortably, and Diego decides to say, "Oh, it's in the bag," and then all of a sudden they go bang bang Raiders, and they come within 5 points, and then we're hanging on, and I'm watching. I'm one part of my on my phone. I'm thinking I'm gonna write a message to you. I'm like, you fucking, why do you do this? And I was stressed out, and that was week 3 of the obviously bigger story during the Super Bowl and that, but. I don't know what it is. I get so invested in the teams that I follow.
Yeah, that's not
What about,
unnatural.
boys, what about the last leg of your multi? I showed you that multi that I had yesterday. I was hanging on like for dear life watching Seattle Seahawks beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
And, it was close, and I needed Seattle to win to get the multi up. So here's me just watching the on the NFL app, just all the gameplay because they weren't showing it on anything. So I was just hanging on each gameplay, like and then obviously they ended up winning in the end. But I was passionate for the Seattle Seahawks yesterday. There you go.
Fuck
There you
off.
go.
Anything for green apples, you know.
You had money riding on it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
I'd be the same if I was watching lawn bowls and I had 600.
Hey, let's not. We'll get into lawn bowls. Diego, we'll get into lawn bowls later as well. I'll tell
Dagger, can I
everyone
mention
about.
one thing
Definitely
before we wrap up? One thing, because I'm a huge fight fan as well. This weekend, boys, Canelo versus Charlo, big boxing fight.
Yeah, it's on grand final day. It's great fight leading up to the NRL
That's
grand
what I was
final,
thinking.
boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be one of your multis, Johnny.
Yes.
Could be one of
Yeah,
your
it's my
multis.
turn, right?
Hey,
Well,
so
before we
boys,
wrap it up,
big weekend ahead, boys. Let's big weekend.
long weekend. We got long weekend in Melbourne on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Monday for you guys and us up in Queensland. So it's going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Before I wrap up, I just want to cover this point off. Gonyo, you're saying you can only support one code and one team.
No. That's how I started.
No, that's how we learn. That's how we learn.
Yeah, well, he's a Penrith fan now, so he's breaking his own rules.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
on his own way.
I'm not like passionate, like
Yeah.
sick to my stomach.
So
like,
this 3-peat is wasted on you. Imagine Para had a 3-peat. How much would you boys be loving?
Oh,
Well, I just want
in
a
the
one
bag
pick.
for sure. All right, boys,
Just
we're
want
going to
one,
wrap it up.
Just want
We've
one.
picked time.
One.
And like always, subscribe to our channel, like you said last week. Any comments to our subscribers, all 15 of them, write in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Any
Write
topics
down
want
anything
to
you
talk
want
about
us.
next week.
Any comments? Yeah, any topics?
Yeah, anything. Even just say hello. We'll be happy.
Yeah.
And any sponsors out there, we're more than happy to.
I'm doing the Joe Rogan thing. I don't read comments.
Awesome, boys. Enjoy your week, and we'll wrap this up. And we'll be back again next week.
Nice.
Yeah, boys.
All right. See you, boys.
Yeah.
Gotcha.